Okay, so this is my third weekly update. I think they're going really well. It's a nice way to end the week and to reflect on what I've done. And I'm enjoying it a lot more than doing daily updates, which I think would be shorter and less detailed than if I did a weekly one. So yeah, so this was the first, which was the Monday. Now I wasn't in a lot this week because I had auditions for drama schools, so I missed the Tuesday and the Wednesday lesson. So I actually only was there for 3 lessons of the week. So this is going to be a shorter video than it would be any other week. So yeah, the first. This was a Blood Brothers rehearsal slash the street rehearsal. So I've put it down as Blood Brothers because we have to mix. It's sort of the street, which is representing community and is an ensemble piece. It's a start sequence which goes into Blood Brothers, so it's kind of a Blood Brothers rehearsal. So in this, we started and Kelly just wanted us to give ideas about what we kind of thought. So we done the start sequence as we knew it, and then we tried to add in the street, which we rehearsed last week with Anushka. And it worked really well. So then it got on to mixing the songs. So all the different songs from each musical had to be mixed into one song for the start sequence. So we had Tell Me It's Not True, It Must Be Love, House of Fun, Our House, My Child, My Girl, the narrator's song, which I actually sing but I've forgotten the name of it, Shoes Upon the Table. So there was a lot of songs mixed together, and by doing this we basically got in our positions, and Kelly had previously wrote down how she thought it was going to go, and we just devised and kept trying out things to see if it worked, and it did. So I have it down here, but I'm gonna read it out, not sing it, because it's kind of not the same, but I'll sort of sing and talk. So it starts with Tell Me It's Not True twice, and then on the third Tell Me It's Not True, the Mrs. Johnstones come in, and then while that's happening we sort of cut that off with In the Middle of Our Street, and then they just say It's just a story, is our castle and our keep something on the news, which is Mrs. Johnstone and Lyons. Then Tell Me It's Not True is the ensemble, then they sing My Child, and then the Joe Casey comes in with My Girl's Mad at Me, I didn't want to see the film tonight, Say It's Just a Dream, which is ensemble, and then Someone Broke the Looking Glass, which is me and the other narrator. Then we've got I'd Never Thought I'd Miss You, which is just the boys. Then the girls do In the Middle of Our Street, half as much as I do. Then the girls Is Our Castle and Our Keep, and then Joe Casey, My Girl's Mad at Me, Mrs. Lyons and Mrs. Johnstone, My Child. Then half of the stage sings Welcome to the House of Fun. And then the other side sings Now I've Come of Age, Welcome to the Lion's Den, Temptation's on its way. While that's happening, the Mrs. Johnstons is doing Hallelujah. Then we have It Must Be Love by Joe and Sarah twice. And then as this happens, I start walking down the middle and start to do my speech, which is the start of Blood Brothers. And then we end up with Our House in the Middle of Our Street, and then I start. So yeah, it was kind of really difficult to devise that, but we all seem to be really on board with it. And at first it was kind of, where is this going, because it was in Kelly's head and it was hard to get it out, but we just stayed as an ensemble and listened. Listening was really important, because mixing so many songs together, if we don't listen to each other, then it just doesn't go right. So yeah, sorry, my voice has gone weird. Then after that, which took up most of the day, well, we started 2, so it took up most of the lesson, we talked about accents. Now, we spoke about the Cockney accent and the Liverpudlian accent, but I was more worried about the Liverpudlian one because I'm in Blood Brothers and I'm not really in our house. So we spoke about the different patterns the high-pitched vowels, the elongated words, the fact that it's slow and fast at the same time. The fact that it's really important to research other people who speak Liverpudlian. So I had researched John Lennon on YouTube, and then she wanted us to say chicken and chips and a can of chili coke. Yeah, now even saying it now, I'm slowly going into the accent, and it's slower on the O's, so it kind of goes like chicken and chips and a can of chili coke. Wasn't perfect, but that is like our way to get into the character. Chicken and chips and a can of chili coke. But the narrator is kind of different because he's not a full Scouser where you hear them little like, I don't know what they're called, but the little emphasis on certain words. You don't hear them when he speaks. It's kind of a lot slower and more of an older, wiser man. That's why John Lennon is really important for me to listen to, and also the actor who plays it, because they know best, because it's their job. So yeah, we have some things that we can work with. We also did the Cockney one, but I already am quite familiar on how to do a Cockney accent, so it wasn't as important for me to do that. And also, I don't really speak in our house, I only sing, and when you're singing a Madness song, you automatically go Cockney because it's the way it's written. And the way you just remember it in your head, I always remember it as a Cockney song, so I always sing it in their accents. So then I wasn't in on Tuesday and Wednesday, so we go to the 4th now, which was our house dance rehearsal. This was when Abby, who is one of the choreographers, one of the student choreographers, she took over and yeah, sort of like took over the lesson and did the directing. So we got into 2 groups, and so when she first taught us the groups, we were in 2 groups. So when she first taught us the dance, we were in 2 groups. So the first group went first to perform, and then the second group to see if we remembered. Now, my mind was like, is kind of in a different place still after my auditions. I'm kind of a bit worried about the outcome and stuff like that. So I wasn't really focusing on the dance, but I slowly remembered it again. Then she picked people for solo parts. And then slowly taught us a dance in pairs, then picked people to do that as solos. So I was picked with Terry, and it was kind of like a salsa routine-ish, but it's really fun, and I really wanted to have that part because I feel like my dancing has got stronger through these 2 years, and I really want to show that, and it's a great way. Yeah, so it's a great way to show how my dancing has come over the 2 years. And previously, because I'd just done my audition, I was kind of really pumped up for dancing and for the musical theatre. So I came into this week with like a fresh outlook because I'd had 2 days off and been doing auditions. So yeah, it worked in my favour. After that, we had a directors meeting with Sam, who is one of the directors, also a tutor. It was me, Danny and Jake, who are the other assistant directors. And it's sort of been that our house has been put to the side, not put to the side intentionally, because we've been working on Blood Brothers a lot. Our house hasn't really got a lot of acting, so they've set us tasks on what we're going to be directing. So I am directing from page 14 to 35. In this I have to work with the choreography people, because I think I have 3 songs in my section. And then we also I need to discuss how to show the good and bad Joe, because it first is shown in my section as well. So I've got a lot to decide on. I'm kind of a bit nervous for it because I don't really, whenever I direct, I never work from a script. I also work from a stimulus, but I kind of devise it how I want it. And I'm kind of a bit nervous that do I get stuck to the way the play is and watch it online, or do I completely change it and go with the weird contemporary mindset they've got? So I'm not really I'm not really sure what I'm going to do there. Yeah, I don't know. But working with the choreography, because it's going to be fun. It's good to collab. We then worked with Anushka on our characters and the way we were walking, and just just the way we walk on stage and the way our person manipulates our character. If that makes sense. Yeah. We then turned into a car as well. So we did some car work and some physical theatre to show I've been driving in my car. So we turned into cars, and how they could be moulded on stage and how they could disappear, which is also really good fun. After that, I did some directing on the knife scene, we called it, with Terry and Aspen. Now, it's quite far on into the script of Blood Brothers, which I haven't been set to direct this, but Aspen was nervous about it and wasn't sure how it was going to be shown, so I said, okay, we'll just do it. So in this, we have to show the opposites and the mirroring, the opposites of, I was going with Mrs. Johnstone on one side and Mrs. Lyons on the other, and when they cross, like who crosses the barrier first and the power struggle. I also wanted it to mirror the song My Child, because they're sort of in the same position and they're talking about my child, but is it Mrs. Johnston's child or is it Mrs. Lyons' child? So I wanted a lot of mirroring to happen. It had to be fresh as well and feel real. So the real event happens in a kitchen in the Willie Russell original, but in our version we took it out to the street, so it happens in the street. So I had the idea of Mr. Johnson maybe hanging up some laundry, doing something outside her house, because in them days they would have had back-to-back houses, so she wouldn't have had a back garden. So there was the crossing over into my area. This is my area. So yeah, there was crossing into my area, and I just really wanted to play with the idea of rich and poor and how each one works in the scene. Really, it's hard to explain when I'm directing because it just comes naturally to me, so I never plan out what I'm going to do. I always watch it first, how the actors do it, then go in with my opinion after and just tweak. And if I also take things from the actors, if they don't feel like that should be there, let's change it up. It's a collaborative process, not just one person. There shouldn't be a director, it should be an ensemble directing. So anyway, on to Friday, which was our last day of the week. This was our house dance rehearsal. Again, we did Wings of the Dove. This time we blocked it out. So we blocked it out and rehearsed it more and really tried to put character into it and refined every part. Because it's important that we can refine this dance, put that to the side, come back to that later, closer to the performance, and go on to other dances, because at the moment we've only been working on Our House, Baggy Trousers and Wings of the Dove, and there's more dances in it. So that's kind of worrying. It took a lot of patience in this rehearsal. There was a lot of people not really wanting to join in, and a lot of waiting around, because it was kind of, let's refine the principal cast and then we'll come back to you guys, which was fine, because I'm not principal cast in that. And working as a unit was really important, because we are an ensemble, and if we don't work as a unit, it's a disaster on stage. We then did some more community pieces, which was our movement piece, Push the Button, which is going in to show when Joe Casey and Mickey meet. Now, this is an idea Kelly's been working with, that she sort of wants the two stories to run parallel to each other, and that there's not just the first half is Blood Brothers and the second half is Our House. Yes, that's going to happen, but there needs to be something that links them. Okay, it's the same sort of storyline, but we need something deeper than that. So the movement piece, which the level 3 foundations have been doing, is called Push the Button. It's by the Chemical Brothers. I'm not really sure if it's called that, but that's what we're calling it, Push the Button. and it kind of reminded Kelly of Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation. So that's where a lot of inspiration came from. We first listened to the song, and these are some of the thoughts I got on the song. It makes me think of a club, youth, tension, it was repetitive, shutting down, something I remember, cogs, brainwashing, power, control, distortion, robotic, march, soldiers, some problems, same problems, different era and city, temptation and statistics. So it's kind of got a lot in there, and it's kind of all about the doll, and well, that's what our scene is. It's all about the doll and no jobs. So we're going to be working on that in I think next week. So yeah, that's exciting. So we've got quite a lot to do really. Then after college we went costume shopping. Now I'm not in the costume team, but they wanted me to go with them because I'm a director, and they just wanted to make sure there's someone there that has a higher input, I think, and a second pair of eyes. So yeah, I went costume shopping with them, picked out Mickey's jumper, this is Lion's costume, what's the name? Linda's costume, a lot for Blood Brothers, but that's because I went with the Blood Brothers costume team. There's also an art house costume team which I haven't catched up on, but we will. So yeah, thank you for listening.